Tons of nature news this week, from understanding chimp gestures to a new dino and, well, spider butts. Plus the Chinese Lantern Festival and a treasure hunt.
Over here! Hey, listen up! Newsy!
Newsy Paloozy! Hello and welcome to the world of Newsy Paloozy, the only world news podcast for curious kids and adults. I'm your host, Leela Shiv Shankar Prikam, and as ever, I'm joined by the Big Story Explainer and my sound effects finder, otherwise known as my mama.
Hi, y'all. I'm Lindy Prickett.
What a packed week it is for nature stories this week. From the new ducky dinosaur discovered, to deciphering chimp gestures, and the sea creature that can regrow its butt. Yes, I am not making this stuff up. Plus, Ticketmaster apologizes for its Taylor Swift ticket mess, with U.S. senators unable to resist reciting some Swiftie lyrics. Also, a special report from Taiwan on this year's Lantern Festival. And the hunt is on for treasure in the Netherlands, and not everybody is happy about it. Alrighty then, let's dive on in. First up is the
Big News Story
of the week.
And the big news this week is actually...
It's the call of nature. Get on your safari suit
Or squeeze into your scuba gear.
and get ready to hop into a Jeep.
Or a submarine.
Submarine.
Because Mother Nature is calling.
Seriously, there's tons of nature news this week.
And when she says tons, she's not even talking about the bear caught on camera in Colorado, as if posing for one selfie after another.
Oh no, we're not doing that story, though we will have a link to the adorable pictures in our transcript so you can check it out, of course. But we've got the latest research to unveil. Let's start with news about our ancestral cousins.
Ooh, ah.
Is that your best chimpanzee?
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
Okay, or you could sound a little like this. But who cares what they sound like?
Well, hold on, we do. We did a story just in September about how chimps use drumming to communicate. Episode 116, in fact.
Well, that's true, but guess what?
What?
Well, there's more understanding about chimpanzees, which come from the forest of Central Africa, are highly intelligent and social animals.
And our closest cousins, in fact. Humans share about 98% of the same DNA as chimps.
Correct. So I guess it's no wonder that they not only gesture like we do, but according to a new study from the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, humans can pretty easily interpret these gestures too.
Mama says as she throws her hands out widely.
Well, I can't talk without gestures, it is true. But more importantly, these findings suggest our human language might have evolved from the hand and body signals of chimpanzees.
Well, says me with my hands on my hips. You don't say.
I do say, says me, wagging my finger. Now, next, last week we had 2 new bits of information about dinosaurs. But there's more.
Oh yes, a new species discovered in Germany is thought to have had 400 teeth.
What?
Yes, with a long mouth that looked more like the beak of a duck.
The researchers from the University of Portsmouth think it waddled around small ponds and rock pools in search of food, eating like a duck or a flamingo.
The duck dino has a better ring to it than the flamingo dino.
True. But to be clear, this new species is part of the pterosaur family, which were technically flying reptiles rather than dinosaurs.
So not dino duck then?
Debatable. Now, last but definitely not least.
Oh no, in fact this should really be called an oddball.
Technically, it's like an odd bottom.
Odd, or rather magical.
So true. What are we talking about, you wonder?
Oh, none other than the creepy crawly sea spider.
Which are a type of arthropod. That means an invertebrate with an exo, or external, skeleton instead of an internal skeleton or backbone.
Thank you. And while we know other arthropods, like crabs and centipedes, can regrow their limbs, we didn't know they could regrow their
Butts, bottoms.
bottoms, bums, anus.
The list goes on and on for what you can call your backside. Let's say their behinds. Okay, technically, being a spider, it's really just their little bottom bit. But yeah, more researchers from Germany, this time zoologists from Humboldt University of Berlin, found that juvenile, as in very young, sea spiders could regrow parts, including their bums, if, they happen to get severed or squashed or amputated somehow or another.
But not adult spiders.
Okay, I think we've maxed out on the nature news this week. What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I think it's time for...
Now it's the ACE part of our podcast. That stands for Art, Culture, and Entertainment. Darling.
So you might remember a few months back, we brought you the story of the amazing Taylor Swift and Ticketmaster's debacle.
And debacle means a sudden, often embarrassing failure or fiasco.
Basically, most fans spent hours and hours and hours online trying to buy tickets for her upcoming tour from Ticketmaster, but they couldn't.
Ticketmaster blamed bots or web robots, which were trying to gobble up all the tickets to resell them for crazy high prices. Though they failed to do this, the company claimed, the bots did jam Ticketmaster's system. But many say the real problem is the company is just too big, and there isn't enough competition from other ticket selling outlets.
Yup, competition usually makes companies perform better. That's why Ticketmaster was called before the U.S. Senate, which is kind of like getting called not just to the principal's office, but to the school board.
Yep. And during the hearing, several U.S. senators couldn't resist the temptation to incorporate some of Taylor's most famous lyrics into their questioning and condemnation.
Ticketmaster ought to look in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. It's me.
As a ode to Taylor Swift, I will say we know all too well.
A few million Taylor Swift fans would respond, this is why we can't have nice things.
Once again, she's cheer captain, and I'm on the bleachers.
Well, that was amazing. After this creative roasting, Ticketmaster has apologized to Taylor Swift and her fans.
We don't know if the hearing will actually help Swifties get tickets, but if the evidence is presented of any anti-competitive practices by Ticketmaster,
as in pressuring artists to only use them,
well, that could lead to big changes in the live entertainment industry in the U.S.
What's that? I'll tell you what. That's the halftime bell, which means it's time to hear what's making news around the rest of the world. Hold on tight. It's
Around the World in 80 seconds.
Hold
Tensions are high between Israel and the Palestinians after a spate of attacks and increased violence. The U.S. Secretary of State, who's on tour in the Middle East, is urging everyone to stay calm and calling for the aggression to de-escalate, as in go down. In the U.S. state of Tennessee, police in the city of Memphis are disbanding the so-called Scorpion Special Unit after disturbing video footage is released showing its officers beating to death a black man. Tyre Nicholas was pulled over for a traffic violation. Staying in the U.S., a dead humpback whale mysteriously washes up in New York. This is the 14th whale to wash ashore along the U.S. East Coast since the 1st of December, and both local officials and environmentalists are trying to find out why. And in South Australia, mobile phones are banned in some 44 high schools, an effort to help kids concentrate and behave better in class. Schools that had already implemented the ban say it's a game changer.
Thank you for that. Wappity, zippity, zappity, rap. World news around the world.
Yes, thank you.
World news making headlines around the world.
You're most welcome. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we said, Happy New Year!
That That would be Happy Chinese New Year.
Quite. And 2023 is year of the
Rabbit, for good luck and peace. Oh, please.
Indeed. That's episode 134, in case you want to go back and hear all about the New Year customs and what the year of the rabbit means.
And you might remember we had a very special report from our Taipei reporter, Yuqing Lao, about the celebrations in Taiwan.
We did indeed.
Well, they aren't over.
Nope, because it all culminates, which is a fancy word for ends, with
Not just a bang, they welcome the new year with fireworks, but soon there'll be something else in the sky to help bring in the new year.
over to you, Yuqing.
The 15th day of the Spring Festival is Lantern Festival. We will go visiting our relatives and friends during the Chinese New Year holidays. Although we don't meet very often, we still have very much fun playing together. On the night of the Lantern Festival, the lanes and streets are bright and colorful. We will carry paper lanterns, take a walk on streets, and enjoy watching decorative lanterns at parks on Lantern Festival. I like to eat yuanxiao, which is a sweet dumpling made with glutinous rice filled with sweet stuffing. It's very yummy. And that's how I celebrate the Chinese New Year in Taiwan. Happy New Year! I wish you good luck in the year of the rabbit. 新年快乐，兔年行大运. In Taipei, I'm Yuqing Liu reporting for Newsy Paloozy.
Thanks a lot, Yuqing. It sounds really fun.
And finally, let's see what the Lucky Dip has in store for us this week.
Step right up.
Have a go at the Lucky Dip machine.
The Lucky Dip machine.
What's it going to be today, eh?
An oddball, no doubt.
An oddball, no doubt.
Yes, it's not every day that people are on the hunt for real buried treasure. But it's an odd treasure that not everyone is thrilled about. Cue the music, Mama. Once upon a time, like nearly 80 years ago, the world was at war.
That would be World War II.
Well, according to the testimony of a German soldier, a bank in the Dutch city of Arnhem was hit by a bomb in August 1944. Well, contents of an exploded vault sent jewelry, coins, precious gems, and gold watches flying into the air and landing on the rubble. 3 or 4 occupying Nazi soldiers quickly rushed around, pocketing all they could, and then quickly stashing it in the ammunition boxes. You know, where the bullets were supposed to be kept, and bread boxes.
Not very secure.
Well, it was all they could find. Then, in the last weeks of war, the German invaders were retreating, leaving the Netherlands, and the soldiers decided to bury the treasure near a village called Omer. After the war, a Dutch institute was set up to track down things stolen by the Nazis, and they came across the story. They found one of the soldiers and had him sketch a map.
Oh.
Well, the institute tried several times to find the buried booty after the war, but no luck. Still, that hasn't stopped treasure hunters, armed with metal detectors and shovels, stomping through the fields of the village after the map was made public earlier in January.
Oh, I bet the villagers love all this new attention.
No, they don't. Most would like the treasure hunters to go away. Though some people think it's good for people to remember the war, even if it is in pursuit of buried booty.
And it's time to wrap up the podcast with the top 5 facts heard today. Fab fact number 1.
A new study from the University of St. Andrews in Scotland shows that humans interpret the gestures of chimpanzees, suggesting humans might have picked up gesturing from chimps. Not surprising, since humans share how much DNA with chimps? 98%.
Fab fact number 2.
A new species of dinosaur has been found with 400 teeth in a long mouth that looks more like the beak of a duck, even though it belongs to which family that are technically flying reptiles rather than dinosaurs? Pterosaurs.
Fab fact number 3.
Ticketmaster apologizes to Taylor Swift and her fans after the ticketing debacle for her upcoming tour. What's a debacle? Sudden failure or a fiasco.
Fab fact number 4.
People are getting ready to celebrate the Chinese Lantern Festival, which comes how many days after the start of the Chinese New Year? 15 days.
Fab fact number 5.
Treasure hunters are descending upon a Dutch village because papers are released to the public about a buried treasure after a bomb landed on a bank, sending coins and jewels into the air during which war? World War II. And don't forget, if you want to test yourself later on, then go to the Lucky Dip page of our website. That's newsypooloozy.com. That's pool like a swimming pool. Pooloozi. Then you can take this quiz online in your own time.
That's pooloozi.com. That almost brings us to the end of this episode of Newsy Paloozy. But first...
Oh yes, we are still making our way through your fabulous reviews left on Apple Podcast. First up is Power Ram, who wrote, "Such a great news podcast. We look forward to it every week. Though it's intended for a young audience, and it does a great job explaining tricky topics to them, the adults in my family love it too. My favorite part is hearing the voices of kid correspondents from around the world."
And Mama Bear 1893, who wrote, "Fun, entertaining, but most of all, educational podcast to listen to first thing in the morning."
Thanks, you guys. You know, sometimes, not often, but sometimes I do think, gosh, this podcast is a lot of work. And we don't get paid for it, you know. But reading these reviews and emails really, really makes it totally worth it, doesn't it? So, thank you.
If you enjoyed the step in the coolest pool of news and information, then smash that subscribe button so the episodes just land in your feed. And why not also tell a friend about us? Oh, go on, just tell one person.
Oh, tell a lot.
Alrighty then, see you next week in the happy, splashy, giant Newsy Paloozy.